You're tuned in to Community Conversations with the Trio, a weekly show that explores key topics in health, education, politics, and business. You can always find us on the web at cctrio.com or get connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, and iTunes by searching The CC Trio. And now, your hosts, the Trio, Dr. G, Sean D, and main man Michael Duff, on Community Conversations with the Trio.
All right, guys, we ready to go? Community Conversations with the Trio, Dr. G, Sean D, and my main man, Michael Dove. Unfortunately, the main man is missing from his chair once again. Sean, what is
2 weeks
going
in a row
on,
right
Sean D?
Well,
what is up?
He's a busy man, that main man. But yeah, everything else is good. You know, he's over doing his thing with his fraternity. Main man is, but I'm here holding it down. Schoolwork. It's up to 2 o'clock this morning.
Get out of here.
Just up at 2, up early to come do the show, and I'll be right back doing more work with paper due tomorrow, another paper due Wednesday, final paper due on the 27th. So it's a lot going on.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Got to get it done.
And that's the perseverance side of the equation. So that's what I'm looking at is one day it'll all make sense.
There you go.
That's what man Common would say. One day it'll all make sense.
Oh, I don't see how you do it. 2:30 in the morning. 10 o'clock at night. I'm ready to hit it, man. That's about the best I can do.
Well, trust me. If I could, I would. If I could, I would. But it's the. I guess I'm kind of viewing it as the short-term sacrifice. I'll sleep later. I do have a family vacation coming up at the end of the month. So that's kind of the goal at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. We'll say is a little reprieve that we'll have at the end of the month. So
gotcha.
So that should be a good time. But getting there right now, it feels a daunting task, none the least.
But it will all be worth it.
Yeah, sure. That's the idea. That's the idea. That could be Dr. Sean D. Then that's like along with Dr. G. There
you go.
Get Dove on his way, main man.
Mm-hmm. But, yes, indeed.
What about you? What do you got going on this weekend? Hopefully you don't have as busy a schedule as I do.
I don't have a busy schedule, but we have a big event coming up tonight, which you, Sean D., will be involved in.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that, too.
But we have this crazy idea. As you know, I work at the Cancer Center, and we are doing a comedy show tonight. And you think comedy?
Well, exactly.
Cancer,
comedy to cancer.
That just doesn't.
That ain't funny.
I know, because cancer is absolutely not a funny thing. But the idea behind it is to get the community, to the Cancer Center. And Sean, we've had an incredible response from the community. We sold out within a week. So we'll probably have over 300 people, crammed into this space that only holds 300 people. And we ended up having to get an overflow room, so we're going to have
that's what I'm talking about.
Piped into another room.
That's what I'm talking about.
So some people will be there in the auditorium, others will be in an overflow room. But we have two great comedians.
I got to get myself together here. Catch a nap at some point and be ready for this.
Absolutely. Two great comedians, two guys who work on cruise ships. Man, they've been voted by some polls as two of the top cruise ship comedians in the country.
Nice.
So these guys are pretty good. But the part that you are involved in, John D., we're doing something a little crazy called Are You Smarter Than a Cancer Researcher? Where we will pull two audience members, ask them questions around cancer.
Well, if I'm going up against you, I'm going to say yes.
Well, you're not going up against me.
No, all right.
You will be paired with one of the audience members, helping that audience member try to get the right answers. And then we are pairing, we have another audience member who will be going against the first person. We'll be paired with our very own
Ernest Hooper. Give him an introduction of a drum roll there.
Ernest Hooper. So
they have symbols up in here. I've brought everything.
Ernest is a local newspaper columnist for the
editor and for Tampa Bay Times.
Make sure you get it right.
The Brandon, I think it's the Brandon Tampa Bay Times.
So very well known columnist. Has some good columns in the paper. People know him very, very well. Mm-hmm. So he'll have the other audience members. So you guys will really be going up against each other.
I'm going to tear Ernest down. Tear him down.
And then you have the other...
That's a tough competition, though. He's tough competition.
But then you have the other element that we will have the top cancer researcher from the Moffitt Cancer Center will also be up against you guys. And this guy is, one of the most well-known in the country in, his area of research. A guy by the name of Tom Sellers. So he'll be the cancer expert.
Okay.
And then you add on a whole different element of the whole audience. Each audience member will have a clicker for the audience response. So they'll get a chance to answer the questions as well. So your contestants will have a chance to look at what the audience says. You can either go with the audience, or you can say, "Y'all don't know what the heck y'all talking about," and they can, pick their own answer. So it should be a lot of fun.
So now is the room going to be split up, or is it all going to be everyone responds at the same time?
Everybody responds at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. So
the lifeline is automatic, so to speak. So it's going to have an automatic lifeline.
Yeah. So you can take it any question you want to take it, or you can say, "Heck with you guys, you don't know what you're talking about."
Very cool.
And there's some tough questions too. I'm just going to warn you.
I hope this is being video recorded or something up in there. So
it is being video.
We get it up on YouTube, or got to connect that. I'm sure folks want to see it. So at least some snippets of that right there.
Oh yeah. And then so once we do the game, then the comedians will come on, and then after the comedians are done, we even have a band coming up in there. So there will be entertainment after the fact.
Well, since you requested, yes, I will be more than happy to be in the band for you. Yeah, no problem. It's not singing.
So it's the Caribbean Crew. Are you familiar with that group?
I'm not familiar with the Caribbean Crew.
So they do that
the steel drum
kind of deal, and one of the top.
So you just took a whole cruise ship and you just brought it over to the cancer center.
Yeah,
so basically what you're saying.
So this is really an experiment. The purpose behind it also is to provide some education to the folks. So our CEO will be in the room. So that's a little nerve-wracking. So it has to go off well.
There you go. I'm sure it will.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will. Yeah, you have a top-notch team that runs that holds you up. So
absolutely,
that's the design right there. Right, get people who are smarter than you around you to do the work that you're doing.
Gotta have that happen. Gotta have that happen.
I did learn something from you. You know that, right?
I hope so.
At least
I hope so. There you go. That was what my mentor told me 25 years ago.
So look at you passing down the knowledge.
Yeah. He said, make sure you get good people around you, hire people who are smarter or just as smart as you, and don't be intimidated by other folks in the room. Use those folks to your advantage, and I've held to that every single day, and that's why I've been somewhat successful. Still got work to do, but if you can remember that, it'll pay off.
Yeah, I mean that's why you have me and main man around here. So
you don't go that far.
Well, come on now. Without us, I don't know what this show would be.
Yeah. Oh man, what else is going on? Did you see this crazy story? And well, let me say this: we want to get to some heavy stories later in the show. We know the Zimmerman trial is happening. There's the plane crash. There's updates from that. So we'll get to those heavy stories later. But this story about Justin Bieber, did you see that?
I did not see it.
It's one of those stories where you shake your head and think, why? What's going on with this guy? Well, our listeners can go and, obviously Google it, and the story pops right up because it's been over the national news for the last couple of days.
That's not good.
No, not good at all. So the short of the story is basically him and his boys were at a nightclub. They're getting ready to leave, of course, because he's a superstar. He leaves out of the back, goes through the kitchen, and he has to take a whiz. If those who don't know what that means, he has to go take a leak.
Leak it out. Yeah.
So you get
to leave a leak.
There you go. And as he's going through the back kitchen,
oh, this is not good.
He spots a
soup bucket,
cleaning bucket.
Oh, okay.
A mop bucket.
Mop bucket. All right.
You know, big yellow mop bucket has a mop in it. So he, I guess, decides this is the most appropriate place for me to take this leak. So he whips it out, takes his leak, zips back up, and I guess notices there's a picture of President Bill Clinton on the wall. He takes a spray bottle of some cleaning solution, triggers it up, hits Bill Clinton's picture a couple of times, and then he says the F word, President Clinton. President Clinton, and walks out.
Wow.
And I guess one of his buds is videotaping the whole thing.
Whoa, what?
Can you believe that?
Well, one, he's videotaping. Well, let's get past the fact. I'm going to step over the obvious piece here of the initial decision making, but go to the person is recording it. Two, then they had to put it up somewhere in order for folks to get a hold of it to become national news. So what was what are we trying to prove here? What is the end goal? Maybe the end goal is what we're doing. They're talking about Bieber. He's back in the news because he's been quiet for a while. So,
but back in the news with a story like this. The follow-up to this, obviously, because this was national news, he ended up having to reach out to President Clinton. Had to apologize to President Clinton, and according to the news reports,
in your face,
President Clinton just sort of took it all in stride and said something.
He's Bill. He's cool, Bill Clinton.
He's cool. There's a little teenage boy. What does he know? And then he tells Clinton he wants to volunteer for one of his major charities or something. So.
No. I got something for you. It's a little donation category for you right there.
But it begs the question of who's around this guy. Where's his guidance? Who's helping him make good, solid decisions? But I don't know.
Where was Usher in all of this? Isn't that his?
Don't mention Usher.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a fan of Usher.
So you can bring Usher in.
I'm not a fan of Usher, and I'll tell this quick story. It was when Michael Jackson was on one of the award shows a long time ago. It might have been BET or Soul Train Awards. I can't remember. And Michael was on, and he was doing his dance routine or whatever. And then Usher comes up and tries to out-dance Michael Jackson. From that moment on, I'm thinking, you young punk, go sit down somewhere. You got the king, and you're trying to outdo the king. Come on. So after that, I kicked him off my list.
Wow, he's off the list.
He's off the list.
Wow, Usher, you're losing sales records. You're losing all over the place here. You better do something. Call Dr. G up and get him back on your list over there.
Disrespectful to the king of pop. That's the way I looked at it.
So it's the Bieber. So maybe it's in the same vein of the Bieber aspect, right? So it's the disrespect of just the situation there of President Bill Clinton. He's not trying to outdance him or anything, but just the show, dropping the F-bomb and again, I think Bieber is just trying to be that tough guy. Now Usher was just he was just doing he's a dancer, man. I could dance too, but
right.
But with Bieber over there, I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? So you said that it's mainly the folks around him, the lack of guidance.
The lack of guidance. Where are the adults? Who's helping him to?
Where are the adults? Home sleeping. You just said you sleep at 10 o'clock. I'm sure they weren't leaving the club at 10.
I mean, there's got to be not necessarily a bodyguard, but a handler. Mm. These big stars have handlers, people who are around them to keep them out of trouble, to make sure they are keeping the toe on the line. I don't think he had a handler with him. If he had a handler with him, there's no way he's going to let him pee in a bucket. It's just not going to happen. Furthermore, you're not going to allow it to be videotaped. The minute you see somebody pull out a video or cell phone camera or whatever,
these days it's quick to do so.
You snatch it and say, no, that's not going to happen. But somebody's got to keep him out of trouble. He needs some type of program or something to I mean, where do kids go these days to get that kind of guidance? I don't know.
Well, there's the guidance piece, I think, is the key to what you're saying there. Is like, because again, individuals, we talk about this even at the with the work we do with mentoring kids with 100 is, I even talk about it with my daughters, is we try to give them enough information in order to make good decisions when they're out, on their own, so to speak, when they're in situations like that, right? So you may have your peers around you or others who may not be your friends, but there's the influence of that. I'll call it an immediate community, so to speak, of whatever environment that you're in, the ecological circumstances. But so being of where you are, and then being able to, the idea is to be able to make a decision that is in your best interest at that particular time. Takes the wherewithal of calling upon all those, like you talked about, remembering your mentor and the information that they pass along to you. Is that same idea that our youth have to, and I know I'm sounding a little old there, but our youth have to, and adults to some degree as well, but specifically the youth have to take that guidance and be able to make those decisions that are of benefit, that may not be popular at that particular time, and that's I think that's part of the key too. Some decisions are just not popular. It's cooler to be cool within the moment of it's the time to be cool, so to speak, and and to make those decisions that then you're now apologizing for, and I was in college and I was a high schooler and all those, in all those environments, and I'm not saying that every decision I ever made and still make today is the top-notch best decision, but to have that guidance there, that at least have that little voice on the shoulder to speak to you and say that's probably not a good idea. I think that Justin could have used one of those in that particular moment, but
particularly the fact that he has been in trouble in the past, you think that he would want to sort of stay out of the limelight, particularly if it has anything to do with doing something that's undesirable. And I go back to the fact of the guidance. Where's the guidance? Where's the guidance?
Yeah. Well, and that's there's programs great for. There's, I guess I can put a plug in right here for more mentors. This is probably one of those situations where actually I saw Pinellas County School District is having a mentor recruitment fair because they're trying to recruit mentors for the schools in Pinellas to get more folks involved and coming out and just working with kids. That kind of hour a week kind of thing. So there's a plug there. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening from, if you're not mentoring, find an opportunity. Because, like I said, there are plenty of opportunities out there and environments. Actually, one of the gentlemen I got to speak with last week, do an interview with, who we'll get a chance to hear from, is Wally B. and he does his mentoring component using poetry. So he has so it's not necessarily, think of mentoring as, just I sit down and talk to you and, we are even the Big Brothers, Big Sisters environment where you're going out to different events and that sort of thing. So it doesn't have to be in those elements. You can mentor within, within a sport or within a musical or entertaining expression of what you're doing, if that's what you're good at. So you can find a way to incorporate what you're good at to what you feel you're good at in order to impact some youth. And Wally B. Clark, being a poet that he is, has a program here in Tampa that he does is a team poetry slam. They call them Heard 'em Say. Heard 'em Say Team Poetry Slam, and he does it at the end of every month. I believe it's the last Friday of every month. Over at Mocha Brown's Cafe Lounge here in Tampa. A nice in the cut spot, very professional environment. So it's not I don't think you find Bieber peeing in a bucket kind of thing, but it is it's an environment where they can they have a lot of open mic nights and they do a lot of things. And this one particular event is for teens only. Poetry slam, and he's actually, through the work he's been doing, this is I think 6 years, and through the work he's been doing, he's taken a group of students to the international poetry slam in Chicago. And that's just like there's folks going to be from all over the world. So we had a chance to speak with him. So that's a great opportunity to hear what he has to say is what in the program that he's doing and what he's doing to encourage and give kids an opportunity to express themselves, as well as he can provide some guidance with them in addition to that. So
wow, sounds fascinating. Is it possible for us to run that piece?
Let's run it.
All right.
So Sean D here with Wally B. Clark, who is a local poetry artist and I don't know if you're Tampanian.
Native Tampanian.
Native Tampanian.
Okay, yes,
sir. Don't hear too many of those. So
exactly.
So we're definitely glad to have you on. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about you've got some work that's going on. You're working with kids,
correct,
giving that positive vibe. So just tell folks a little bit about some of the work that you're currently doing.
Sure. For the past 6 years, I've actually been hosting a teen poetry show, which is called Heard 'Em Say Teen Poetry. Right now, we're currently housed and have our show monthly at Mocha Brown's Coffee Lounge, which is located at 428 West Waters Avenue. We actually just celebrated our 6-year anniversary in May.
Wow.
And with the phenomenal show, we actually did a Rookies versus Legends Poetry Slam where the teens from Heard 'Em Say, they actually beat the adults of the Sacred Sounds Adult Slam team, which is Tampa's only adult poetry slam venue. So it was a really great night.
So you got them trained up and just taking down the big cats, the legendary cats of poetry sex.
Well, if you're number one, you got to aim for the top. If you want to be number one, you got to aim for the top. And so, my goal is to help to birth out and help to refine the skills and the talents and the things that I see inside of them. And so I think it was a really great first step for them to really build their confidence to know that their words do hold weight and have value in going against the adults.
All right. So age group, what are we talking about? So you said the teen poetry slam, but how teen to teen end to end here?
Well, the show welcomes any ages 19 and under. And when I first started, my vision was for it to actually primarily target high school students. However, as soon as I got started, I actually got a lot of interest from middle school teachers who started bringing some of their middle school students out. And we even have some parents now that will bring their elementary school children out as well. And sometimes they'll get on the mic and do a couple of things. But primarily the age group usually ranges from about 18 to 13.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 18 to 13. Then during the shows, it's an open mic style, or you got to perform before? Is that how does that work if folks wanted to come out and participate?
It's a complete open mic, and it is open to all ages under 19. So if there's a young person that is in elementary school, exactly,
and, see what they're like.
Exactly, then they're more than welcome to do that. And the show is profane and vulgarity free. So there's no profanity,
so there you go.
no vulgarity.
Have elementary school kids in there. All right, that makes
exactly.
a lot of sense. All right, so it's open to all. You can come in and again that 19 and under to perform. All right.
And the primary I wanted to say the primary platform is spoken word poetry. Okay. However, if there's a young person that as a matter of fact, we had a young man who he plays the guitar and he sings, and so that's great. If you dance, if you rap, if you sing, if you pop lock, I usually tell them whatever. If you're Jabberwocky, anything like that, we'll welcome. We welcome that.
Okay, all right. So I'm a little bit over that 1980s limit, but I might have pop lock in there a little bit. You like I said, you've been doing this 6 years now. What was the preimpetus? What started it all? Why did you what put it in motion here?
Well, I actually started as a spoken word artist my senior year at Florida A&M in Tallahassee, and that was in October of 1998, and it was around 2 months before I was slated to graduate, and I actually was at an open mic, and it was the first time that I'd ever performed. And the first thing that I thought when I got off the mic was, wow, what would my life have been like if I started doing something like this earlier? And it really gave me the initiative to want to help young people find that talent and that gift and the things that they're good at early on and encourage those things, because I found myself in reflecting on life on the things that I really did to try to fit in. The things that were outside of what I knew was right, just because I wanted to fit in. And even though I always knew I had a gift for writing, I always had a gift for speaking publicly. But those things aren't cool when you're a young African American male, 13, 14, 15 years old. Right. It's not cool to be saved or be a Christian. It's not cool to sing. It's not cool to say you do poetry when you're that age. And so I got involved in a lot of things I shouldn't have got involved in. Mm-hmm. However, when I read that first time, I realized that I was beginning to embrace who I was. And so I wanted to be a part of helping young people to embrace who they are as early as I can in life, and as early as they can in life, in hopes of curbing them from getting involved in some of the vices and things that beset them and hold them back.
Well, that's excellent. Again, anytime we can have these types of forums for kids to, because they do have a lot on their minds and go through a lot more than some adults do. They have gone through, but have no way to really get that information out. So, this is a vehicle, we'll say, for them to be able to do that in a safe environment. It sounds like an encouraging environment to be able to get that out. So you mentioned, you made a comment about the idea of it not being cool to do certain things, and especially in this regard of the positive side of things. And,
right.
We've talked about that before. So, but what are your thoughts on what is it about it that doesn't make it cool? Why isn't it cool to do spoken word or to display some of these talents?
Well, I think it's just a stigma associated with it. Even now, with doing this show. And with the team that we'll be taking to this poetry competition, it's all girls. Even the alternate it's an all girls team.
Okay.
And the whole idea, I think, behind it is that there's still this stigma, especially among young men. It's cooler and better to say you're a rapper than it is to say you're a poet. And so I think a lot of young men really get hung up in that. And and actually that's okay, as far as anything that will help to get your message out in a positive way and productive way. That's what we really want to begin to draw out, in hopes that we'll be able to help these young people to embrace who they are and not try to adapt to certain behaviors and certain personalities that are outside of who they're supposed to be.
All right. Now, do you have is it like a training environment for folks, or so the group that you have, we'll get into, that you're taking to Chicago here? Is there you get together to work on stuff, or how does that come about?
We actually have the show. As far as heard them say, it's a general open show. Anybody can come to it. Anybody can. Well, as far as young person, any young person can sign up on the open mic and participate. And then another level of that is we actually have a slam team, a poetry slam team, and with spoken word, there's a competitive aspect called Poetry Slam. And for this will be the 4th year, we have actually competed in an international poetry festival called Brave New Voices. Okay. For the past 3 years, it's been in California. This year, it's actually in Chicago. And for the past 3 years, we've actually done it as a co-op with Orlando. So the team has been half Orlando, half Tampa. However, this year, we've really grown to a place to where we can kind of send our own team. And so we've elected to do that. So this year, we'll be going as an all Tampa team. And along with that, our season normally runs from February until August. And so every Saturday we've been meeting, doing workshops and having practices. And those things are open to anyone that really wants to refine their poetry and work on the performance aspect of it.
Okay. All right. So talking about Chicago, so you've got the team, they're primed and ready to go take on the rest of the world, beyond the legends of Tampa here. So what is this about? Do you begin to talk about it a little bit, but tell a little bit more about the Chicago piece.
Sure. Well, it actually is, the festival is called Brave New Voices. It's put on by a group called Youth Speaks, which is a corporation based out of San Francisco. They actually had started the first youth poetry slam back in 1998, and over the past 16 years, it's actually grown to the largest poetry festival in the world. Oh, wow. It actually you go into a pool process where you're selected. I believe that the last count, they received over 80 applications, and only 50 teams from around the world are selected. And this year, Tampa was selected. Our team was selected. There will be teams there from all over the continental United States. In addition to that, 2 teams from England, a team from South Africa, a team from Guam, and then Hawaii as well.
Wow!
So it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. But the great thing about it, and the competition is always de-emphasized, which is great. but competition is something that helps to refine and give you a goal, though, which is good. But the great thing about the festival is that it helps to bring these young people into an environment where there are other young people like them all over the world, all over the U.S. And especially as an artist, as a young artist, it's easy to feel like I'm the only person that feels this way. Yeah. I'm the only person that goes through the things that I'm going through. Mm-hmm. And now you're sitting face to face with somebody from Kansas City, with somebody from South Africa, with somebody from England, with somebody from Oakland, California, San Francisco, and they share the exact same experiences and feelings that you do, and it just does wonders for the young people's confidence.
Yeah. Well, I could only imagine the idea of, again, the world being bigger, feeling that the world is bigger than just this, the couple of block radius that they may see every day.
Exactly.
That, again, you can have this connection with someone across the globe, really.
Exactly.
The opportunity to do so. So that's awesome. Now, and I assume you're raising funds for it as well. So, mm-hmm. So if someone wants to get in and support what you're doing, the work that you're doing, how can they do that, and what way can they do that?
Sure. We actually have a couple of products that we graciously have been sponsored. We actually have a Heard 'em Say CD, mm-hmm. where the young people that are on the team actually recorded, and brother by the name of Cotton, who actually hosts the poetry show here, called the Solstice Lounge every Thursday night at Super D's. He actually provided and donated the beats to put behind it. Really great quality CD, and that's available on our website. Our website is www.heardemsay.org. And in addition to that, we also were sponsored for T-shirts as well. So we actually have our own T-shirts. Okay. They come in white with the black logo, black with the white logo, and red with the black logo. And those were sponsored by a local clothing outfitter by the name of Black and Denim, which is an up-and-coming clothing company. And so they sponsored 150 T-shirts for us to sell, and those are available on our website also.
Okay, excellent. And that's, again, the website is?
Sure, the website is www.heardemsay.org.
All right, Heard, M-E-M?
Right, Heard, yeah. All right. With the Ebonic kind of spin.
Heard them, I heard them. All right, so that's so you got the CDs, you got the T-shirts, you got the monthly component at Mocha Brown's. And on the monthly piece, when is that? Is it?
That's the last Friday night of every month.
Last Friday of every month. Mocha Browns, I've at least visited Mocha Browns. I haven't gotten over to the Heard 'em Say component, so I'm going to definitely put that on the calendar to do so, but try to sneak that in between schoolwork and such. But anything that's helping with the teens, there's actually the chance I got to really hear. I've heard about you before, but the chance to really hear you was you were working with the Collegiate 100 out in South Shore.
Correct.
And doing something for their Black History Month, and had a couple of folks with you that were there. At least a couple of folks that were participating, not the teens, but there was a couple of other artists. So it was definitely an opportunity. And my daughters were there, and they absolutely enjoyed it and loved it. So we'll have to get them down and check you out as well.
Cool.
So anything else? Anything that you can let the people know? So you've been doing this, but so folks do know. So you're not. This isn't your full-time gig.
No.
Right? So you work on top of this. And
I have
this
a
is just
full-time job.
Your reach out to work with the kids, and just sounds like something that you love to enjoy, that you do on a volunteer basis.
Yes.
I assume.
Yeah, this is my passion. This is my ministry. This is my heart. I was actually born and raised here in Tampa, as I mentioned, and so to be able to bring something like this to Tampa is my honor. To be a part of doing something like this, and the impact that it's had on a lot of our young people has been just amazing. I had one young lady last year, and actually a couple times now, when we take these trips to this international festival, say things like, "This is my first time being on a plane," and you just get like goosebumps, because you realize, like you mentioned earlier, that you're helping them to see that the world is bigger than the block that they live on, or the house they live in, or the city that they live in, or the school they go to. And I think those things are really important, and there's a mental and spiritual aspect to that, where now they're kind of being able to get out of this box of what they believe that they can be, or what they've been told that they can accomplish. Those parameters are now being expanded. So just to anybody that's listening, especially if you have a teenager or a young person, if you recognize and see a gift or a talent or something inside of them, find a way to cultivate it and work it, and whatever it is, help them to be able to express it in a positive, productive way. And that's what really this show is all about.
Right.
It's not even about poetry as much as it is about providing a platform for our young people to be able to get out some of the experiences and things and issues that they go through in a positive way. Mm-hmm. So again, whether it's poetry, whether it's dance, whether it's singing, whether it's rapping, even if they don't participate, young people really get a kick out of seeing other young people do it. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost like a night out without all of the debauchery, And so I always,
as a dad, I can appreciate
it's
of two girls, I can appreciate,
and especially Mocha Brown's, because Mocha Brown's is a beautiful,
it's
great
a great
venue,
vibe there.
But it's really wholesome and laid back, and so for the young people, they feel like they're out in the club, but you don't have all the kind of club issues that you would normally have, and so it's a really good look and a really good feel for them. So, again, I just really, and I thank the city of Tampa as a whole and as a collective for really supporting and keeping it alive for the last 6 years. But I would definitely like to see more young people come out and get involved in it.
Excellent. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate your time to come and chat with us about it. So again, sitting with Wally B. Clark from a number of things, but this particular piece is the Heard 'Em Say Poetry, Team Poetry Night, taking kids to Chicago. You can get on to support by going on to Heard 'Em Say, that's Heard, E-M, Say, .org.
Correct.
To go and find a way to support. So definitely express your love and definitely get out to Mocha Brown's. That's Coffee Lounge over on 428 West Waters Avenue. All right. So appreciate it, Wally.
Thank you, Mr. Dickinson. I appreciate it.
All right.
So that was interesting, Sean D. I would hope that others would hear that, and we could come up with other programs similar to that. It doesn't have to be, poetry. It could be some other activity that we can get kids engaged in. But sounds like they're doing great work.
Yeah, indeed. So that's a great idea. Keep highlighting different aspects of what the work that's being done out there, and that's again bringing it to your local from Tampa. So
absolutely.
A little spotlight.
Yeah, good. So appreciate you taking time to do that. That was fantastic. So changing gears, changing subjects. We cannot continue on without talking a little bit about the Zimmerman trial. Mm-hmm. We do know that today they are finishing up the final arguments. The defense is up right now, as a matter of fact. I think they start at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for those folks who are listening other places in the country. So they've started this morning and they continue. You could go online and actually see the thing as it goes right now. Live testimony. You could see the defense up right now making their final case. But it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. I know the country is probably on edge in terms of what the jurors will come up with. What's been very interesting lately is how they're preparing for the verdict, one way or the other. The National Guard is on alert. The local police, the local state troopers, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. They are preparing for some type of activity, riot, whatever. What do you think about that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I didn't think about it until we talked about it here on the show when you first got wind of the secret plans of the National Guard being prepared, and I really didn't think about it. And I'm sure the folks that are planning for it are kind of thinking Rodney King style. So. And it is that it's not to that extent of the Rodney King aspect, is again, and that for those who may be too young to remember, but that particular environment was cops against one black male, multiple cops against one black male, beating him, and just the overuse of violence in that, and what it from a viewer standpoint, what it looked like there, and that there was really the ultimate senselessness in that particular beating and situation there, because again he had that many cops, and the idea was, well, you couldn't subdue one man with that many cops without literally beating it with nightsticks repeatedly. So there was outrage and the already existed civil unrest within the laws and still within the law enforcement, some of the distrust that's there with law enforcement in general. So that aspect, and then when they were found not guilty, then it was a kind of slap. It was definitely a slap in the face to say that really at that moment that it was that black male in particular is not valued, still not valued in this country, and has no value. So those riots, that not that I condone the riots, because again, what happened is you end up burning up your own homes, basically your own area, which that never made sense to me per se, but the volume or the level of unrest was just built up, was just bubbling for so long, and that same, with those kind of aspects at each other, the police officer versus the black male kind of thing. So that was a situation that was set up for a long time. With this particular one, with the Trayvon Zimmerman piece, I think it smacks a little bit differently than that particular situation and some of the others that are brought up, and so I don't suspect, I don't believe that there would be that same kind of violence of outrage. However, if he is found not guilty, the idea of a black male being or the black male being still undervalued, life worth less than that aspect, right? So there's an argument out there about black males are worth less than many others. So you can kind of go up and down the list. So that the value aspect, I think, would be the question that folks would have is, that would be a charged concept in regards to if Zimmerman is found not guilty. If he's guilty, then justice served. We move on. I mean, so then no riot, or what happens after that? Or is the riot also the National Guard being planned for? Are white people going to riot? Is that the idea that they're going to? Because I did hear some, not on the riot side, but I did hear of some folks who can't understand why this is even at trial, kind of thing. So there's so they don't believe it. They definitely feel Zimmerman should be found not guilty and move on. So which was a interesting conversation to say the least. But so I don't know. I don't think it's. I know there's plans being made in Tampa. There's for an outlet. I know there's plans underway for a town hall meeting for potentially next week. So depending on how fast the jury gets back with the information. So and so there is a concern, no doubt, but I don't think it's at that same level. Right? It's just it's more about how the response is. I don't think it's going to be burning cars and buildings type stuff.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope calmer heads will prevail, irregardless of the verdict. Because you're right, it harms the city. And I was hearing this other radio program a couple of days ago, and they were talking about this issue, and they were saying that typically when you have these types of big riots, it's not the local people, it's people coming in from other parts of the country who are bringing this civil unrest, and they're the ones burning down storefronts and cars, and it's not their stuff. It's not the local people. It's the people who are coming from outside. So they burn it up, and then they leave and go back to their...
They go back to their stuff well established. And
there you go.
Wow, interesting.
So there's there's that element. Now, of course, you may have some local people who just get involved in the emotion, but they're saying typically it's the outside influence. which, when you think about it, that's probably very, very accurate.
Yeah, well, it's you got some folks who want to incite that kind of riot, but hopefully the cooler, like you said, the cooler heads concept will prevail, because at the end of the day, even if looking back on the whole Rodney King piece and the uproar of that, what did it actually prove? I mean, you still, even after that, there were situations of cops still killing people, unarmed individuals. So they still had that kind of those situations still happening and continues to happen. So what did it do besides it didn't take down any power structure kind of thing, right? So so I mean, I just didn't see the value and don't see the value of that, of what it actually means. If you really want to make some changes, let's uproot the political system that puts these powers in place, and let's start taking down power structures, not tearing down structures that thrive for economic purposes, so to speak. So that would be my thing. I mean, that's kind of what then. So it just so happens, interesting enough, I guess, a topic for a class tomorrow is one of the topics is about radicalism and radical from an education standpoint. So the talked about some of the radical aspects of the. Right now, I actually got a piece I'm going to read about the civil rights, during the civil rights era, and a lot of the from the education side, what transpired over the. During this, now it's got one of the pieces is looking back at the civil rights era, back it's 50 years back. So is the piece, but and saying and looking at what happened then with the being in taking a radical stand, what was considered a radical stance of tearing down power structures, and how is that played out today, and what does that mean? Looking back, I think it was written in like 2005 or something like that. But looking back, so what now is there? Have we really seen change, or is it is the system worse off from an education standpoint? Is it worse off, better off? So I haven't gotten through the piece yet. So I'm just one of my other 27 things to do today. But it was so the radical, so even in today's structure. So that's what it's talking about is what. And being radical, once you tear down the structure, what do you put in its place? Mm-hmm. So that's the other question of that folks don't necessarily answer. They like the idea of let's uproot it, let's knock it down, knock it over. Even so talking about the unrest in Syria and Egypt, and I think you're making a mention of that. But as these environments in Iraq, of course, but as you tear down some of these regimes in a radical way, the question becomes, well, what? I don't think folks look to the point from the beginning of what goes in its place. Right. So yes, so you're trying to say democracy, but what does that mean? How does that get played out? How does it? How does it really, get implemented?
Exactly.
And so there's, I bring all that up to say there's so many other. Just in my opinion, is just being radical doesn't necessarily do justice in the long term. Right. So that's my thing. So the radical move of, like I said, just if we go and flip over some cars and stuff, just doing that does not necessarily change anything per se.
Right. Exactly. That's a very good point. So we will certainly keep our eyes open this weekend.
Absolutely.
It is said that the jurors could actually get the case today, and that they will deliberate, over the weekend. But another thing people always watch is how long does it take? Is this going to be a couple of hours? We got it, kind of thing, or is it going to be days and people will be on watch for the verdict. Mm-hmm. Maybe we need to keep in close contact once the verdict comes out. Maybe we can get together. I'm not sure when Dub will be back, but maybe we can get together and do a special community conversations after the verdict.
After the verdict, post-verdict community conversation.
Yep. So keep our eyes and ears open. It will be interesting.
Indeed.
But I just cannot. Last comment. We can move on. I just cannot get past the point of this young guy, this teenager, minding his own business, tea, Skittles, walking home, and end up dead. Not stealing, not just walking home. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the pundits are saying, well, you can't utilize this whole notion of Zimmerman following him, Zimmerman, being the aggressor. They said you can't even play that into the factor that they said what they are trying him on is if the stand your ground was implemented in the proper way. So even though Zimmerman was the aggressor, following the guy, etc., the only thing they can try him on is if he killed him to protect his own life. So you have to kind of wash out all that other stuff. That's hard for me. Very, very difficult.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
They're saying you can't even factor that in. They said because there's no law against him following him at all.
True. But is that not stalking? Right, and isn't there laws against stalking?
But they're saying he had a reasonable...
Isn't there something about, that's why you can't stalk people, or, you can't be, peeping Tom, I was going to say, looking at someone's window kind of thing, but, to me, that's part of being the aggressor, is you're chasing someone down, and he was chasing them down. They may not have been all out running for the whole time, but they are, Zimmerman was chasing them down, and so I too find it hard to understand of separating that aspect, because that to me that's part of being the you're being the aggressor in a situation. It could have not been a situation had you not proceeded down that pathway.
Right. Exactly.
So you turn around, go about your business, do what the cops tell you, which was don't do anything. Right. We are on our way. Let us handle it. And he chose differently.
Or the other simple thing. He could have continued to, keep his eye on Trayvon. He could have kept him in distance. Call the cops. I'm still following. He's on the corner of so and so, and he just, never approach him. If he'd never approached him, Trayvon would be here today. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't even be talking about this. Right. But he decided, I'm going to be the cop in this, particular situation. I want to protect my neighbors, my neighborhood, and I want to see what he's doing here, basically. So I don't know.
Wow.
So we will see.
Yeah.
We were talking about Bill Clinton earlier with the Justin Bieber story. Did you see the report that Bill Clinton and his wife have made over $100 million giving speeches in the past few years?
I did not. I knew he was high-paid speech guy, but I didn't know it was like that.
Broken the $100 million mark. Just income on giving speeches. We're in the wrong business.
Or not getting paid enough to do it. So, I get speeches, but they don't command no dollars like that.
They'd be like, "Can you come?
On my speech game.
We can't pay you, but can you come and do it?"
I got to work on my speech game. Maybe I'm too erratic in my speeches. I got to work on that. Good for radio, not good for speeches.
$100 million just getting up talking.
That's a nice living. But Bill's got expenses, man. He's got things to pay for.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
What does he have to pay for?
I mean, he's got the office space up in Harlem. If he still has that up there, he's got. I'm sure he got friends in other places he got to compensate for. And
friends in other places. What you talking about, Willis?
No, I don't want to have to be making a call to Bill Clinton.
Exactly.
Apologizing to Bill. So I'm gonna use good judgment
Bill,
and not go down the pathway I was headed down.
And I'm going to be a good friend and not even let you go down that path. So if you're ever with me and we're at a club and we're leaving, I will not let you. I will not let you do it. Absolutely not.
Thank you. So
absolutely not. But so that's pretty nice.
Hey, if you can work it, why not? Right. Well, legally work it anyway. So
he won't have to worry about the surge in gas prices that we're expecting within the next 2 weeks. Did you see that as well?
No.
Gas prices are expected to surge up to 15 cents within the next 2 weeks or so.
Just because I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks, that's why.
Yep. Which, they're pointing the finger at the whole situation in Egypt.
Okay.
And not that Egypt is, cranking out all this oil, but it's the transport of oil.
It's something they could use to make more money. That's what it is. There
you go.
What they sit in a room, and I'm going to use the proverbial they, sit in a room and decide what they look for. What story can we put out there, to give it that cushion so that we can make because I need this yacht. I got to get this yacht over here that I saw. So I need to up my profit intake. So what could we use to up the gas prices? Go.
Yep. And those guys
start putting all types of brainstorm with all types of stories.
Yeah.
Because this is it just continually happens. And we talk about we as in this country. The conversation that's looked at going to depending on less foreign oil and those things, but. Again, this is there's one of those power structures that if you want to be radical, that's where you begin to look. How do you destroy that structure of the conglomerate of the oil conglomerates? How do you destroy that structure or make it a more leveled out playing field, so to speak? Because you only have a few folks who are really controlling that situation, right? So. It's one of those things that's almost to the point of the Justice Department got Microsoft on it with you're colluding with certain aspects of your price fixing, right? So it's the price fixing aspect. Actually, I think they're about to get they're going after Apple on for the books side of it, price fixing, and that's so. I don't know. It's one of those deals that keeps putting me closer and closer towards one of those energy efficient electric cars. Because they're making now they're getting better with the technology now. So with the electric cars, and then what's going to happen? Then what does the oil bigwigs do at that point? So
because those guys make a gazillion,
literally a
gazillion. The oil industry, other industries, where they're producing those types of products make gazillion dollars. Just like, I don't know if you saw a story a few days ago, this CEO, a Russian business guy, I think he's in aluminum, but he's worth like $8.5 billion. And he got a $3 million bonus. And he gave the $3 million bonus to his employees. And I'm thinking, and everybody's lauding him and praising him for doing that. Mm-hmm. $3 million to him is like $20 to me. It's like,
share it $20.
I know. Here you go. Here's a couple $1,000.
Here's a lunch. You go order off the dollar menu.
This guy
get cheese
is
on
worth $8.5 billion, and they're saying. The headline is CEO gives his entire $3 million bonus to some very lucky employees.
Well, I mean, it's on headline. I mean, that's great money for them. I'm sure. They're pulling out. I don't know how many. Depends on how many employees there are. So
what I would be impressed
you get $1 per employee.
What I would be impressed by, since this guy has $8.5 billion, take $1 billion and do something for your employees.
No, that would impress you?
That would impress me. You still have $7.5 billion. You know how much money? Billion?
It's tough to spend, I'm sure.
Sean, billion.
Even Richard Pryor and Brewster's Million had tough spending $30 million in 30 days. So I'm sure it's a tough spend, but that's $3 million bonus.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
But there's those that are making it out there. So we got to, like I said, we got to work on our game.
I would hope when you make it, you'll You at least give me one of the billions, not just.
I'll set you up with a little something. I
appreciate it. I appreciate
very little something, though.
Yeah, okay. I don't need but a little something.
Yeah, you're a modest guy. I give you that. You are a modest guy.
I try my best.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Man, well, this is going by fast.
As it always does.
Fast. I'll tell you.
I see clouds rolling in over here, so we're about to get our usual Friday rain in Tampa. So for those who think it's sunny all the time, it does rain.
I know.
Rain hard, but
and we did miss another storm. Did you see that the storm was headed this way? It was. I guess it never did form into anything significant. But at the beginning of the week, we were thinking, are we going to get hit by something? But it fizzled out, thank goodness.
Thank goodness, yeah, because I was unprepared. I wasn't even paying attention.
You're so busy, man.
How many papers and stuff I got going on and readings.
Good thing I'm keeping up with everything.
Much appreciated. This is where I get my news at, too. I come to Community Conversations with the trio to get my news.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. Well, looking forward to tonight. I hope you're ready.
Yeah, it should be a good time. Like I say, go press the shirt and pants and get all sharp for this evening. Yeah, I might even shave today. You never know. So,
what's up with that? You used to be bald.
Because I haven't had time. I haven't made the time to actually shave. So I just let maybe a mini fro. We'll see out there. Maybe I may grow a mini fro.
That's what my son's trying to do.
After vacation.
What's up with that?
The half fro. Get back to a half fro. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Cool. All right, man. Well,
we'll keep you posted on it.
Always real.
Yeah, absolutely. See you tonight.
Yep.
All right.
Indeed. Peace.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed another entertaining episode of Community Conversations with the Trio. To keep the conversation going, stay connected with us by visiting cctrio.com and following us on Facebook, Twitter, and iTunes by searching The CC Trio. Community Conversations with the Trio. Dr. G, Sean D, and Main Man Michael Dove.